So hi everyone, my name is Shai Levin. I'm a technical community manager, one of them. And before we start, I want to show you a cool new space that we've just added to Checkmates. And I hope that you see the screen. Guy, do you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so from the Checkmates, you can go to products, and in products, you have this link to CloudMates. Click on it. And this is a new space that is dedicated to cloud native security. And in this space, you probably ask yourself, what is cloud network security? What products does it include? So on the solution, you'll see the products. It says inside the posture management, the threat hunting, the network security, and also the workload protection, which is splitted into 3 products. It's the container security, serverless, and application. And we have the cool videos that I'm going to update, like I think weekly, and they're all like very short videos that show you cool stuff. For example, how to integrate the CSPM, the posture management with the Slack channel, so you will get all the events to Slack, how to upgrade VMSS on Azure, virtual machine scale set with Terraform, how to deploy CloudGuard on Oracle Cloud, how to submit to use admission control and onboarding Kubernetes cluster to the CloudGuard portal, and many cool videos that will make your life much more easier. And of course, we have also the upcoming webinar, and the next one is going to be on April 8. We are doing a combined webinar with Aviatrix, and you can also join running EA programs and be the first to investigate and try new products and new feature in the cloud area. And of course, we have a dedicated space for your post for each one of the products. And I want to encourage you to post, share your ideas, and ask questions. And I promise you that if other people from the from the community will not answer the questions, I will bring in the R&D guys to answer your questions. So this is the place to ask all of the questions that you might have. I suggest to search before you post, because you might find that the question has already been answered. So let's start the webinar, and I want to introduce you my friend Guy Steinberg. He's from the R&D group. He is a customer focus manager. And Guy, correct me if I'm wrong, you was one of the first employees that started to work on Dom9 that acquired by Checkpoint like 3 years ago, right?
2 years ago. 2.5 years ago. But yeah, I'm in Dom9 for almost 6 years.
We don't. By the way, we don't see you. Can you connect the camera?
I am.
So it's not connected. Check on the setting.
No, I can see myself. There are 2 guys, so make sure you see the right guy.
Yeah, maybe.
I have 2 laptops. You know, one is for communication, the other is for actually doing things. So this is how it is.
and Guy, you know, when I think about it, I think that I didn't see you for almost a year. So since the COVID, more than a year since the
Basically,
COVID started.
the last time we met was in Vienna in the CPX last year.
Yeah, it's
By
crazy,
the
huh?
tables.
But I will tell you what, today I'm in the office and I went to eat outside, and all the IT companies and startup are sitting here in Tel Aviv next to Checkpoint headquarter office. And it was so crowded because, everyone here in Israel already got the vaccine. So it's like it's before the COVID. We are back to life. Surprise.
Partially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's looked like that, but we're not there yet. But yeah, we got vaccinated, so we are. I'm also in the office today, so if you want, we can meet a bit later on. Maybe I have another session afterwards with the US. So if you'll still be around, we can meet.
So after the session, so guys, please, I see that you fill the chat, but if you have any questions, please put it in on the Q&A. And Guy, I will ask Guy questions during the session, and we will try to answer all of your questions. So Guy, I will jump to the next slide, and this is the agenda, right? Do you want to elaborate?
Basically, yeah, we can we can go over the agenda. Basically, we'll show you how to onboard, how it's easy to onboard environments to Dome 9. We'll focus on AWS and Azure in a nutshell. We'll touch about one of the components in Dome 9, which is the network security, CloudGuard native, not Dome 9 anymore. Logic, which is the cloud intelligence and threat hunting component, and the posture management. And if we'll have time, a bit on identity protection. This is the plan.
Just bear in mind to all the people that join us, this is native cloud security from Checkpoint perspective. We have five products, and we are going to cover just two topics out of five. So we have the next lecture, we will probably cover security workload. So this is one lecture out of three that I'm planning to do. So Guy, go ahead.
Okay, so basically, if you want, we can also show about the Checkpoint portal, which basically allows our customers and partners to log in from a single glass of pane, basically pane of glass, to see all the products that we have and log in from a single place and try them
basically out. Everyone can reach this portal via portal.checkpoint.com, and you can register to this portal and try out our products. So it's not just the CloudGuard products, it's all the Infinity platform, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can register here. I already have a user, so I will log in, and it's connected with the SSO to the ADFS, so I'm logging in. So for those of you that are not familiar, this is the Infinity portal, and we have all the Infinity platform over here. Today we are focusing here on the CloudGuard, and we're going to cover the posture, the network, and the intelligence.
Yeah.
So I will jump into my account, and by the way, you can see here that I have the Checkpoint. I'm connected now to the Checkmates tenant, and you can create multiple tenants. And by the way, Guy, what is the reason that you can create multiple tenants? So what is the use case?
If you manage other customers, basically, you can switch between accounts, and then to assist them, to handle their products. For CloudGuard native, basically, because you need a single email, so the moment you can attach it only to a single tenant, but we're working that it will be also multi-tenant in the future.
Okay, so as you can see, I have a clear and free. This is a completely new account. It's completely free and clear. And let's say, Guy, I will do the onboarding, and then I will switch. We'll switch to your account. So see an account with populated with assets. So I will connect my AWS environment, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to Asset. On the Asset, I will click on the wizard, Get Started with AWS. And I see that I have two options here, one monitor, read-only, and another full protection. So Guy, which one should I choose? The
So
read-only or the full protection?
we can start with the read-only. The difference between the read-only to the read-write mode basically is mainly on network security that allow you to have timely based access to a security group and the assets that use those security groups, and other features that we can cover a bit later on. But let's start with the read-only. It shows the most of the features require only read-only mode.
And by the way, if you are from the States and you're working with GovCloud, you will need to check here the GovCloud. And for those of you that are in China, we support also AWS China region, which is a completely different region. So let's move on. I will move on with the read-only. I will click on the Get Started. And what I need to do is, the first thing that I need to do is to create a policy, and I have a pre-configured or a JSON file. Let's take a look on the JSON file. This is the JSON file. This is, as you can see, it's all like read and get. So I'm going to copy this JSON file to a clipboard, and I will switch to the AWS console, and I will look for the IAM service, which is the manage and access, will allow me to manage the policy and rules. And I'm going to create a new policy. And instead of using the visual editor, I already have a JSON file that I got via the wizard. And I'm just going to place those settings over here on the JSON screen. I will click next, review, and I have also a suggested name for this policy. So I'm going to copy it from here, CloudGuard read-only policy. You can use whatever you like, but this is just a suggestion. So I create a policy, and I can move to the next phase. It is, and the next phase to create a rule, right?
Role, yeah.
A role, sorry. Create a
Basically,
role.
a role is a container that basically allow us to do the communication between your cloud account to our production environment in order to fetch information on top of your cloud account.
Okay, and I see here the account ID. So let's create a new policy. Sorry.
No, you need to create a role.
Create a role. So I'm creating a new role, and it should be another AWS account, right? Because we are going to consume this role in order to get information from the customer, from your account, from the customer account. So I will put here our account. This is our account. And for extra security, we have also an external ID. And I will copy the external ID from the wizard. I have here the external ID. And I will put it here. Click next. And now I will need to attach to this role the permissions. So I will touch the policy that I've just created. This is the CloudGuard read-only policy. And there is another one, right?
The security audit.
The security audit.
Exactly. Basically, the CloudGuard read-only policy is just for required permissions that are not covered in the security audit, which is an AWS managed policy. So we are always doing our best in order to keep the less permissive model. We only ask for permissions that we need in order to provide value.
Okay, and I have also a suggested name here for this role. CloudGuard Connect. And now I will need to take the ARN, the Amazon resource name. This is what it stands for, ARN. I will copy it and I will paste it here in the wizard, role ARN, and this is it. I'm done, and it's almost connected.
Now we're doing the validation behind the scenes. And the minute that we have the confirmation that the information is valid, we're start to get metadata from your environment.
Okay, so now the AWS account is connected, and let's move on to my Azure account. Okay, so I will click on the environment, and now I'm going to add also my Azure account. So I click on the Azure subscription, and we have the same question if we want a read-only or a manage, and we will move on with the read-only. And now I will create app registration. So I'll switch to the Azure console and I'm going to search for app registration. In the app registration, I'm going to create a new app. And I will put the suggested name, CloudGuard Connect. And I will need the URI of CloudGuard in order to do the authentication. So I will take it from the wizard. So in the wizard, I have here the URI. I will copy it and paste it over here. And I will click register. Once I will click register, Azure is going to create an ID for this for this application. This is the client ID. I hope that you see it. This is the client ID. I'm going to copy it and paste it in the CloudGuard wizard. Sorry, this page. This is the application ID. And I need a secret to this application. So let's create a secret. So from the certificate and secrets, I'm still on the application. I will go to certificate and secrets, and I'm going to create the client secret and CloudGuard secret. Let's do it for 1 year, and I will copy the value of the key, and I will paste it to the wizard. We are not done yet. We have another step to complete, so I'll click next. And now what I need to do, I need to find the tenant ID. So this is the Active Directory tenant ID. So I will search here for Active Directory. So this is the Active Directory. And in the overview pane, I will have the tenant ID. I will copy it to the clipboard and paste it on the wizard. And now I need the subscription ID. So I will switch back to the console, to the Azure console, and I will look for a subscription. And this is my subscription. I have only one. And from the overview page, I will copy the subscription and paste it back to the wizard. But we're not done yet. Now we have created the app registration. We need to give on the app registration, sorry, we need to give permission on the Azure subscription to the app registration, to the application that we've just created. So I'm going on the subscription. I will go to access control. And I'm going to add the role assignment. And what I need to add is a reader role. So this is a predefined role, reader. And I'm going to search the CloudGuard. This is the application that we have created. This is the CloudGuard Connect. And click save. And the last step is to go back to the app registration and to enable, to give permission on the API. So I will go again to the application, API permission, and I will add permission. And the permissions that I need to add, they are, the method is Microsoft Graph. and those are application permission. And let's see what does the wizard, what is written on the wizard. I need to add directory read all and reports read all. So let's add them, reports read all, and what was it? And directory read all. Directory read all. And the last thing that I need to click and not forget it, grant admin constant. So I'll grant admin constant, and we are done. So I can move on with the wizard, and I will give it a name. This is Azure Checkmates tenant. Click next. And next, and this is it. The two accounts are connected, and now you can see on the main page on the overview that I have two accounts. One is connected to the AWS account, and another one that is connected to my Azure account. And Guy, it's going to take some time to grab all the information from the tenants, right?
Usually we run every 30 minutes.
Okay.
Basically, when you onboard cloud account, they take around 5 to 10 minutes to get all the content. But yeah, we will use another tenant to represent the value.
Okay, but tell me, Guy, what does customers that have like tens or hundreds of accounts on different cloud provider, would they need to do it like by hand, one by one? So is there like an automation that can do it very, very fast?
So first, a SaaS product have basically everything that you see on the screen. Basically, what lies behind that are APIs. So yes, you can create a script in order to onboard various amount of accounts. The main effort is basically on the cloud vendor side, that you need to create a policy and to create a role. And basically afterwards, via the API, you can just send the ARN with the external ID and automatically onboard it to a CloudGuard native.
Okay, by the way, another questions. I see that we have an option here to add AWS environment, Azure, GCP, and Kubernetes cluster. Are there any other platform that are going to be supported in the near future?
Yeah, so basically, Ali Cloud will be EA, I believe, in the end of Q1, meaning in around 2 to 3 weeks, in around, I think, starting of April, something like that.
This is going to be EA or it's going to be GA?
I think we will start with EA in order to get more feedback. Basically, when we introduce a new cloud vendor, we want customer help us to improve the product according to their requirements. So
Okay.
basically, after they onboard and play with it, and they say, "Oh, we need this entity, we need this entity, we need those rules in order to make sure that everything is okay." So we are working along with our customers in order to improve the product. So we will always start with an EA program that customer can play with that, and basically only afterwards we will have a GA for that. And basically after Ali Cloud, we'll have Oracle Cloud. This is the plan.
Okay, I will tell you what, Guy, I don't have many assets on my account, so let's switch to your account, which is populated with a lot of assets. I will stop share. Please share your screen.
Yeah.
And let's see what you have in your accounts.
Okay, so this is my environment. So I have around 28 AWS accounts attached, 12 Azure, Kubernetes clusters, and GCP. So basically, you have full visibility within the application to all of those vendors. So basically, we will focus on all of those aspects. So basically, this is the dashboard. We'll reach to it a bit later on. So after you attach your environments. Basically, the first um, thing that CloudGuard Native can offer you is basically to have full visibility across your inventory. So usually when customers migrate from the on-prem to the cloud, the main fear is that they don't control it. They don't know what they have and where. So usually most of the customers utilize between 1 to 2 regions using their cloud vendors. So it's quite easy that they are feel that they are protected and they have full visibility on only those regions. And then they find out, basically we have numerous amount of customers that started to attach their environments to Dome9 and found out that they have numerous environments that some developer did a mistake. He deployed the code in a wrong location, and basically they have an entire development component on a different region that they don't manage and they don't control. They don't have the visibility over there. So basically, CloudGuard Native allow you first to have visualization of all the resources that we support, basically that we fetch from your cloud accounts. So everything,
Guy, quick
yeah.
questions. Can I see, like, quickly all the regions that have a running instance?
Yeah,
Because if I will look for them in AWS, I need to move between each one of the region. It's going to take me like 15 minutes to check all the running instance.
so I have a filter here. What is the run state? So you see where basically on entities that support run states, usually it's VMs and instances. So even regardless of the platform, I can see all the running instances, VMs, VM instances, and on all of the platform, you see I have 140 out of 13,000 assets that I have over here. So
Yeah.
all of those are actually running.
Okay. And if I want to filter only AWS and to see all the regions that I
You
have
can just
running.
you can just filter AWS, the platform as AWS, and then you see here regions. So you have all the information. If you want, you can simply export it even to get it in a CSV format. You can see all the public IPs that your assets are using in a
Yeah.
single place. So this is the first thing that you have full visualization of the entire resources. You don't need to go to AWS service by service, region by region, and see what you have and where. You see everything.
Yeah. By the way, what is the organization unit tab? What is it used for?
So organizational units basically is for companies that have all kinds of teams located. So you can have a branch of basically aggregate cloud accounts, associate the cloud accounts to different OUs,
Yeah.
and then basically to run assessments, compliance assessment basically on the entire OU, or OU with the child OUs under that. And also for permissions wise, you can grant to your user an ability only to view this OU instead of the entire content that you have in Dome9. So basically it's for segregation.
I see. Okay, so I understand what are the assets. Let's jump to the network security.
Okay, so again, the knowledge is power. So like we have the inventory, our main focus in the early days was the network posture and network configuration. So we have the configuration explorer that basically represent all the VPCs with all the peerings that you have on basically your selected regions or other regions, so we can show you the entire connections to your environment. Basically, you can deep dive into the VPC itself and basically then see the actual connections, the configured connection between the security
I
groups.
think you are running too fast for me. Go back
Okay.
to the beginning of the configuration. In the configuration, at the beginning, you see basically all the
Every
the structure is based on regions. So
No, this is a specific region. This is Oregon.
Okay, so
So
you
in
click.
Oregon, I have all of those VPCs with the VPC peering between them.
Okay, and now if you want to explore a specific, you click on it and you see all the connection between this specific VPC to other VPC. Those are the VPC peerings. And
Exactly.
I,
Related to this specific VPC, you can click, you see on another one over here, and then you'll see the other connections.
and you have also like colors on the links themselves, and the color represent the type of the connection, right?
Yeah, if you click on that, you can see basically the actual connection between what, where, and the CIDR range.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's a briefing, it's a portion of the information in order, not to get lost. But the main value is also to see the security group configuration. So you can
Okay.
see basically the entire path, configured path from the outside world to your internal components in the in your VPC. So you see it's divided to sections. So external is the outer world and all the configured traffic that comes from the outer world. DMZ, basically, it's all the security groups which are allowing public access. So you can get public access from the outside.
Okay.
Partial, it's effectively public. It means that it can be reached from the public, but not directly. And internal, basically, it means that you have a referencing security group that basically does not allow you to get direct communication from the outside world. So basically, we had customers that connected their environments, and then basically found out that their main database security groups located
But
here.
explain me, I see a connection between the DMZ and the internal. So
Yeah.
why, so what is this connection directly from the DMZ in an
So
internal?
you
Why?
see, it's not directly because there is something in the middle.
Ah,
It's
okay.
not directly, there is always something in the middle. So this is only about the security group configuration. If someone did a mistake and allowed like in the example that I provided, that your main database is here, you don't want it. That your database can be accessed directly from the public world.
So those are all the circles are security
Every
groups.
circle is a security group. If you see on the right, you can see the security group ID, the security group name, and basically even the ports or the services, as we call it in CloudGuard Native. So you can see basically the port and the scopes configured. So you see here, because in this security group, you have a predefined public ports, public scopes, sorry. So this is why it's configured as a DMZ,
I see.
because it
Okay.
allows sources that are public.
But Guy, we must tell you that I'm using AWS and I'm creating all the time like empty security groups. So I might see here a lot of empty security groups that are actually not in use. So how do I
Mhm.
see like actual usage of those security groups?
So basically, if you want to focus on basically the asset that you have, not just the security groups, you can switch to the assets view.
Yeah.
And basically, the assets view will show you basically the assets that configured on the security group. So meaning that there are no empty security groups over here, because those are Lambda function, load balancers, instances. So you can just click on an instance. You can see
So we
all the
switch.
connection that it
We
has.
don't see here in this in the clarity. We don't see security groups. We see only assets that are using those security
Yeah.
groups. One.
So this is basically the asset. If you want, you can also on the security group view, you see that you have the group by. So we can switch to the effective policy, meaning only the policy that control. You see, we aggregate everything together. Basically, you see all the members over here now. So those are actually security group with the members
Ah,
using the
okay.
effective policy.
So this is the effective policy.
Yeah. And basically on the assets view, you see all the connections between the members. So if I click here, for example, you see the binding for this specific instance with all the different sources. So this monitoring, I think, asset, Nagios. So this is the Nagios instance. So he can communicate with all of those services, which are instances on the environment. So you can see the names over here.
What do you mean communicate? This is an outbound rule, inbound rule. How do you know what
It's
exactly?
inbound. It's inbound rules. You see sources and you have targets.
I see. Okay. And if you
So
want to dig deeper and to know exactly on a specific target or source,
so
what are the
basically,
ports that are allowed?
you can see what's configured over here. You can see the actual security group that it uses, and also you can just click, for example, on DB3. Basically, it will create open a new tab, and you can see on the asset level basically all the configuration. So this is how it's represented under the protected assets that we shown earlier about the inventory. So if you deep dive into the instance, so you can see the public IPs or private IPs, you can see all the open ports and the scope of which is open to. So
Yeah,
here, for example, it have SSH, but no scope, meaning that it's closed. So if I'll click on the security group, I'll switch to the security group page. And basically we can see that there is a SSH service, but without any scopes, which basically lead us to dynamic access, that you can get a timely manner leases. You see here SSH and it's closed.
yeah,
So if you'll go, for example, to this security group on AWS, you'll only see the MS SQL ports.
service. Okay.
You won't see SSH because SSH will be created via the full protection mode on demand. So I can just get like a timely manner access to this basically SSH from my specific IP. Um, if I have, for example, some third-party contractor, something like that, that I want to
Yeah,
allow him timely manner access to those to any of those members via SSH, I can just click here, send him an invitation. I can define what is the least period of time that I allow him. I can have him like a couple of hours, couple of minutes, and basically email the invitation. The invitation will generate a token, and basically after he consumed this token, it's obsolete. You cannot do it again. You need to
but
send him another invitation.
how do you restrict it from a specific source IP? So how?
So basically, when you click on the link from the IP, basically from the IP that you open the list, we will
Yeah.
grant you the permission to log in.
Okay, so if I will switch after I click on the link, so if I will switch back to the AWS console and look inside the security group, I will see the source IP
Exactly.
of the contractor, and yeah, okay.
Exactly.
And another questions, there is also like a mobile application that people can request access to resources, right?
Yeah. So basically, we have access groups.
Yeah,
So any access groups can have one or more specific ports that you can use. So I have the Chrome extension, which is similar to the mobile application. So you see, I have dynamic access and I am safety. So basically, I can just create timely manner lists by just clicking play or stop it when I want to. I can see the number of services in the group, and basically, this is how we control our system as well, our production environment, by logging in, taking lists to a timely manner, and then basically we close the connection afterwards.
okay. By the way, you need to remember to close it or to stop it, or it's
No,
going to
no,
be
we
stopped like,
are basically, if you took the list for 1 hour, we'll automatically kill it after an hour. So you don't,
okay,
this is what's good, that you don't need to manage it. You can just open the list and that's it, and you're good to go.
yeah. Okay, what else can you tell us about network security, or we cover most of the stuff?
This is the main aspect of the network security. I just want to make sure that basically the configuration explorer will represent only the configured environment. It's not running on any actual traffic. So
Okay.
this is the difference between Clarity, Configuration Explorer, to Logic, which is the cloud intelligence and threat hunting.
So this is just configuration. What do I need to do in order to see actual traffic?
So in order to actually see an actual traffic, you need to onboard your required cloud environments to basically to use Logic.
So
Now
let me
let's
do
switch
that.
back to you.
Let me do that. I
You
will
will
show
handle
you.
the onboarding today.
Yeah. So I will share again my screen.
The Zoom floor is yours.
Thank you. So let's log into the Infinity portal again. I want to remind you it's a portal.checkpoint.com. So let's see if I remember how to do that. Okay, so from the assets, and by the way, this feature of exploring and investigating actual traffic is supported on AWS, and for Azure, it's also supported, right, Guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for AWS, let's activate it on AWS. So I need to enable traffic activity. And this is the onboarding wizard. So we have two modes of operation, standard onboarding or onboardings, two mode for onboarding, standard and custom. What is the difference between the two, Guy?
So the standard onboarding is used for default configuration if you want to just connect one environment from a specific S3 bucket on the same environment.
So just to make sure that all of the people that with us on the same page, we are going to basically activate flow logs on the VPC. We can also activate flow logs on the subnet level and also on the ENI level. The recommended way, Guy, correct me if I'm wrong, is to activate it on the VPC level, right?
It's on the S3 bucket level.
No,
Basically,
we
you enable
activate
it on the VPC. Yeah,
no, the
you
flow
enable
log.
the flow logs on the VPC level.
Yeah, and we are going to send all the logs to the bucket. Okay,
Yeah,
and we are
exactly.
going to read all the information from the bucket.
Exactly.
Okay, this is how it works.
When you set VPC flow logs, the default behavior now is to set it on an S3 bucket.
Okay, so standards, this is if you have like a account, you want to create an S3 buckets for a specific account and send to this specific S3 buckets all the logs from all the VPC in the same account. If you want
if you have,
multiple
which is
accounts,
common, if you have org level and centralized bucket that store all of the logging on top of all of your child accounts, you can go with the custom onboarding, and it will be easier afterwards to onboard and to attach all the required environments from the same S3 bucket.
Great. So I'm moving on with the standard onboarding, and there is an explanation how to do that. So I need to create an S3 bucket. And let's call it CloudGuard Logic IO. So I will switch to the AWS console S3. I will go to the S3 service and I will create the bucket. By the way, Guy, does it matter if, let's say, I'm working now in Oregon or Virginia or wherever, and I create the bucket in Europe? So
S3 bucket is global. You see that basically on the right. When you are on the S3 bucket, you can see global because it's not related to region.
Well, I see here I have a region, so they changed something. I have here to choose a region. So this is something new.
It will still be global, but
Okay.
it's just the location.
Yeah, and it doesn't support capital
No.
logic, CloudGuard logic, and this is it. I'm moving on with the default settings, and I will create a
Mm-hmm.
bucket. So I'm creating the bucket, and now I will go to the VPC, and I have a few VPCs in North Virginia, and I will set up flow logs for each one of those VPCs. So on the VPC level, and by the way, I can do it also on the subnet level and also in the ENI level. If you don't need all the logs, you just want to see a logs of a specific instance, you can do it on the ENI level. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to activate it on the VPC level. So flow logs, I select the VPC, go to flow logs. Create flow log. And I will give it a name. And the destination sent to S3 buckets. I need the ARN. I forgot to copy the ARN of the bucket, so I need to switch back to the bucket. So in the bucket, I'm going to find on the properties the ARN, right? Yeah, here is the ARN. I will copy it and I will paste it over here, and all the rest are the same settings. So I'll create a flow log, and let's do this process for another VPC. Let's take the prod VPC, flow log, create a flow log, prod, and send Amazon S3 buckets. Yeah, it's the same bucket, and I create the flow log. And there is also a security policy, right? I will click next, and I need to create a security policy. So I'm
Yeah,
going
you just
to,
need to add this additional actions to the role, the CloudGuard role that you've used before in order to onboard your environment. So again,
okay,
it's the less permissive model, just to add what
what
required.
need, yeah, so I need basically the CloudGuard needs to read from the bucket. So this is the permission that I'm going to give him
Exactly.
to read the logs, to read the from the bucket. So I have here the JSON, and I'm going to create now on the IAM, I'm going to create a new policy. So I go to policies, create policy. I will use the JSON that I copy, and here is the JSON. Next, and there is a suggestion, yeah, for the name, the policy, CloudGuard for logic. And this is it, CloudGuard for logic. And now I will look for the role that, and this is the role that I've created for the onboarding, CloudGuard Connect. And I'm going to attach the policy. and it was logic, right? CloudGuard for logic. It was CloudGuard for logic. Yeah, CloudGuard for logic. So I attach it, and basically this is it. I'm done. Click next, and I will select the log destination. I will see all the VPCs. Read only, and I see the two VPCs that I configure a flow log for them. And basically this is it, right, Guy?
Yeah, that's
I'm
it.
done. So let's switch. So this is also, it's going to take time to read all the logs. So what is the interval of reading the logs from my S3 buckets?
So basically, for logic, it's push based. So we are getting notified when we identify new files on your bucket, and then we basically the system digest those files in order to represent it in the system.
By the way, I saw that I can also need to onboard the CloudTrail, right?
Yeah.
What is it used for?
So if you want, let me share. I can show
Yeah,
on my environment
yeah, go ahead.
in the interim time frame. I did my best to answer questions. So basically, so logic, cloud intelligence, and threat hunting is working on the active activity, basically on the network traffic and all the other CloudTrail activity on your environment. So basically, this is the so we digest the flow logs. We represent it in a more cleaner way that if you try to understand it on AWS, it will take time to identify. It's very hard to identify, and this is why we're doing the digestion of the traffic. We're doing a lot of enrichments in order that you'll see basically the traffic from where, which identity did, initiated the traffic. So you can see it either in the graph. So this is the actual traffic. It's a demo environment, so there isn't a lot of traffic over here. On live environments, you'll see huge amount of information over here. So you can see basically this EC2 communicated to the network load balancer.
And this is
You see,
actual traffic. It's not like
yeah,
configuration
yeah.
mode. It's actual traffic. So how do you can see the logs of this traffic?
Basically, you can just click on logs. If you want on the graph, you can isolate the node itself of the traffic. You can see all the traffic here also on the right. You can see what and where.
Okay, and if I want to investigate to the past, let's say that I find out that at the beginning of March, one of my server was attacked, and I want to see what traffic did he get from what sources. How do I do that?
So basically, when you use logic, there is a specific retention of the logs that we keep. You can select a month, a year, and then basically you can just select a different time frame.
Okay.
Over here. In order to identify the traffic, you can always also isolate a specific instance by using the query over here. You see this is the VP flow logs where action accept, so you can always change it to a specific identity. And again, all of those are running on actual traffic. So in order to leverage the actual traffic, you can define predefined rule sets. You can also create your own for logic and of course for the compliance that we'll touch in a couple of minutes. Our time is a bit short, so we'll try to do it in a bit more, bit faster. So basically on logic, there are a lot of predefined rules that you can basically, when you select set a policy on your environment, we automatically identify all of those threats. So basically, let's filter according to the severity. Let's focus on the critical ones and the high. So logic basically work on the active traffic, and it's event driven. So only if we identify those events, you'll get alerts on that. So if you'll get alerts for that, it means that it's happened, and you need to take care of that immediately. So document permission modified is something that it is risky. You want to make sure that that it was something that was
Yeah.
valid or not.
Login attempt to AWS
From a
console from
malicious
malicious IP.
IP, yeah, it's something that you don't want to see on your environment usually, So things like that. And there are numerous amount of rules that we have over here that they are available the minute that you start to use that. You can just attach it to your specific environments, and you'll get alerts on that. All the alerts will be funneled to.
By the way, can you switch back to the last?
To here?
Yeah, I saw over there all kind of attack that you identify.
Yeah.
For example, successful API originated from Tor exit node. So how do you know, this is just the flow logs. How do you know what is inside the request itself on the API request?
So there is a specific logic on the backend that identify those. It's not a GSL rule that you have over here that, it's something static. Some of those rules are, they use machine learning, they use other tools, they use other checkpoint products, integration between, all of the components together in order to have a bigger umbrella in order to, funnel all the attacks and to identify those.
Okay, so let's talk. I saw there the Mitre attack. Everyone talk these days on Mitre. How do you enforce the Mitre rule set on your flow logs?
So basically, you just there is a bug over here. This is not the actual name, so sorry for that. So basically, you can just add a policy to select the specific environment or environments that you want to, protect on, to run those specific rule sets. Select the specific rule set that you want to use, and basically just to attach it to notification to get notified when something happens.
What kind of notification can you get?
So regarding notification, we have many integrations, so you can get, of course, immediate notification via email with SNS, for HTTP endpoints. We have integration to Splunk, ServiceNow, Sumo Logic, Jira. We can send a summary report to Slack. You can create a ticket with PagerDuty and Jira here as well. We have integration to Security Hub and Azure Security Center.
And by the way, if someone, for example, want to do the integration with Splunk, where does he find the documentation to do that?
So all of the system documentation exists here, basically, and we're constantly improving it. So all the resources are here, so you can reach to the documentation. You can just select integrations, and you'll have here all the relevant documentation related to that.
Cool.
So everything is over here. How much time do we have? Because we need to cover compliance.
Don't have much time. So I understand the concept, and what can I do? I'm sure that we have other cool feature that you can show us, but let's move to the posture management.
Okay, so posture management basically allow you, it's not just posture and compliance, basically, knowledge is power. So When we gather information on your cloud inventory and assets, you can ask questions on top of that. So basically you can, so those, for example, all the entities we support on AWS. So there are a lot of entities that you can ask on top of that. So a simple thing to do is like, IAM users, should have, and basically MFA, we can check that all the IAM users on our environment have MFA activated. So, basically I'm building a rule, a very, very simple rule. We can construct a very,
MFA,
very,
it's the multi-factor authentication, right?
exactly. So
Yeah.
this is a demo environment. So I can see that all my users here are in a poor situation, that no one of them is using MFA. I can preview on the failed entities. So I can see that MFA active is false. So I
Yeah.
search for MFA active is true, it's false. So all of those are failed. I can see all the policies that the users have
Yeah.
with all the actions and resources. So again, we enrich all the content over here in order to provide value to the customers.
Guy, I want you to find out all the security groups that have SSH access open from the internet. Okay?
It's like pop quiz. Okay,
So you
so
select
basically,
security group,
okay, so basically,
should not have, inbound rule, contain, port 22, equal.
so basically, if you want, we can also check the scope, which is not open for all.
Okay. So now it's running against which accounts? It's running
This
all
is
of
the
your.
AWS prod. So basically,
Okay.
we tested 346 security group.
Yeah.
28 of them are
I'm not
non-compliant, meaning that
compliant.
they have port 22 on the inbound rule or in the range. So you see port 22.
That
The
it's
scope is
yeah.
open to all. So it's failed because of that.
Yeah, so you basically with this tool you can ask any questions that you want regarding your assets,
Yeah,
the configuration of the assets.
basically, yeah. And beside of that, we can also, check that if you have any security groups which are not in use, or to check the same question, like if I have SSH open to all on a security group which have any instances or
Specific
databases or
tags like
anything.
database, yeah, specific tag database, you can find them. So it
Yeah,
can be a combined questions, like two questions that are
yeah.
combined.
I can
And
also, another thing that I can do, and we have customers that basically, check to make sure that they have specific tags attached on all of their assets in a specific way, to make sure that they have all kinds of billing aspects and things like that.
and by the
So
way,
basically, they have tags.
you can also create your own rule, and
Yeah.
this rule can be run like every 30 minutes or so.
No,
And
basically, if you use the continuous posture, we run every hour because we fetch information every 30 minutes. So we run, at the moment, the interval is 1 hour
so,
between runs.
so example, if there is a violation, if someone attached to a security group any accept from the internet on port 22, I can immediately get an alert
Exactly.
on this issue. Okay,
On
nice. So
logic, you'll get it, in close to real time because it's a matter of a couple of minutes till the logs are getting propagated on the cloud vendor, and then we digest it, and then basically, if there is any violation, we will send a notification immediately. On
and no,
the
but this one in the logic, it's based on actual traffic. So if
exactly,
someone actually access open an SSH, you will see it. But this is configuration driven.
Yeah, so this is basically the way to control failures before they happened, and logic is to identify failures after they happened.
Yeah. Okay. So what are the pre-configured rules that like most organization use? What kind of pre-configured rules that you have?
So most of it's really defined according to the organization. We have a numerous amount of predefined rule sets that if they have CIS or they use NIST. So it's mainly about the customer's requirement.
PCI, for
Usually,
example, do you have AWS PCI?
yeah. So we have PCI.
And what
So
do you have? What do you have inside? What is included in this rule set?
So there are a lot of rules over here for all kinds of specific types. So we ask questions on kinesis, ALB, IAM users, instances. And so you see all of that. You can just click here and see what we are checking over there. SP bucket, which is our immediate suspects in, most of the environments. So
And you can see the actual rule, right? You see the
yeah, yeah.
GSL.
Yeah, here basically it's what configured on the GSL. You can always, just copy it over here and basically, to try it out, not in a rule set, basically to use the GSL builder. And then basically we can run it on the specific environment. So you see, we tested 77 buckets that we have on this specific account. 17 of them failed because
Yeah,
they allow public access. So you see, we have all kinds of automation that did it, and in order to get those violations.
yeah. And can you tell me what exactly does this rule do? So where do you see the information about all the rules that are in this specific rule set?
So basically here we check for, you see, ensure S3 buckets are not publicly accessible. So what we're doing here, we're just checking S3 buckets should not have. So the GSL basically first is, it's not, you don't need to be a developer in order to write it. So it's not
See,
actual code. It's like kindergarten English, should have, should not have, and the simplified conditions of where, which define what's relevant or what's not. So here we're just checking the SP bucket properties. So we're checking to make sure that if the access public block is empty, so it allow public access, or access public block ignore public ACLs false, or so all of those properties that allow this SP bucket to be a public one.
okay.
So all of the combination of, yes, sorry?
Can you run a completely rule set on your pod environment? Let's see
Yeah, of course.
how does it looks.
Just click here. So basically we run it on basically,
This is the PCI, right?
no, this is the best practice. If you want the PCI, we can just go here, click here on the PCI, run assessment, and basically just select the relevant environment or all of them. We run the assessment on the data we already gathered in order to provide the most up-to-date information when we're doing the run assessment. We don't do any actual calls to the cloud vendor when we run the assessment. So basically you see here that SP bucket should have versioning MFA delete enabled. So all of them failed because again, it's a demo environment. It's not our production. So this is in order to identify those problems. So you see that basically should have versioning MFA delete true. So versioning MFA delete false.
Yeah, and you can
So
run these questions on interval base, right?
and we are doing it for you every hour. If you
I see.
attach it as a continuous posture policy, so
Yeah.
the policy is basically a combination of environment to a rule set with a
Mhm.
notification policy. Again, notification policy is a must because we don't want to run, on something that you won't get notified on. Even, just send it to the alerts console, it will be enough in order to attach it.
Okay,
So I'm not going to do
so
it because it's already
Guy, we don't have much time. I just want to cover the dashboard. What can you show us in the dashboard, and how does it going to help you in your like day-to-day job?
So the dashboard basically funnel all the so sorry, I have another call here, but they will wait a bit for me. So basically the dashboard represent all the actual issues that your environment or environments might have. There are numerous default dashboard, and also you can create your own dashboard in order to identify what's important for you. So you can see here environments with high severity alerts. So you see here the numbers of the alerts. Of course, it's from all the rule sets, not just a single rule set. If you click over here, we'll just open it in the events, filtered according to the selection that was in the dashboard in order to identify all the high severity alerts. So basically, the dashboard allows you to focus on what you need to take into action.
Yeah. Last questions. We have also CloudBots. Can you give a few words about what is CloudBots?
Sure. So CloudBots is basically the add-on for the posture management that if you identify an issue and you want to use CloudBots as an auto remediation, so you need to deploy the CloudBots on your environment. So you can just get it from CloudBots.io, deploy it.
So this is basically a Lambda function that is integrated with SNS.
It
Right?
depends on the environment. Yeah, we support AWS, Azure, and GCP. We have all kinds of bots over there that basically allow you to use the auto remediation in order to fix the relevant problems.
Yeah, for example, if you don't allow in any case access from the internet on port as 3389 RDP or SSH, and if someone permit it, open this port, the cloud bots automatically is going to delete this rule, correct?
Yeah, basically you can just use the SG delete or delete the security group, or modify the scope of the port. If someone opened SSH for all, you can just define the scope of your organization or delete the rule. So all of that, it's pre-made bots that you can use over
So
here.
those basically are a small Python script that are pre-configured with all the settings.
Correct. Every bot have an atomic thing that it's doing, basically, and it coexists with the rules. So if you have like a security group with port 22 open, you can define any of those bots in order to fix the problem.
Yeah.
To make sure that if it's open for all, okay, I'll just modify it to my allowed scope, and that's it. And then I know I'm good to go.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that we cover most of the stuff that we plan to cover in this lecture. And can you switch back to the Infinity portal? There are other tabs over there.
If you want, you can share. I'll just stop my share.
Wait. So
You can switch to the Infinity.
yeah.
Uh,
It's in the comments. We can't fetch this information. So
yeah, we'll switch to the Infinity. Give me a moment. And by the way, Guy, do you want to review some of the questions on the Q&A?
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, so we have a question if those supported in the system support on-prem cloud, like private cloud. So we support only Kubernetes that is local, right?
We support Kubernetes, but we are working on adding a generic fetcher that basically the main purpose of that will be to have support for on-prem cloud. So you can connect it as a generic component, and we can basically utilize the compliance engine in order to ask questions on top of that.
Um, okay. And what other questions? People asking if the Zoom meeting is recorded. Yes, it's recorded, and I will send it to. I will send a link to all the attendees. Let's see what other questions do I have here. Is there a plans to use Terraform in
Terraform,
order
yeah,
to?
we support Terraform. Basically, there are predefined Terraform that you can onboard the environments, and basically it exists in the system and on the documentation.
Uh, Okay, do you know if private links configured on VPCs inside, considered as inside the VPC, how you're going to see private links?
I don't remember, but we support, I think, from what I remember, we support private links. I don't remember how it's reflected on the
Maybe,
VPC, but give me a second, I'll try to check.
and do you want to share? I have a problem to log in with my account with the SSO. Do you want to share your screen and show the Infinity portal again? There is a questions regarding CloudGuard native security and Dome 9. Are they the same product or are two different products? So
No,
it's
it's
the
the same.
same. It's the same product.
It's
Okay,
a
good.
rebranding. Most likely in a week it will be renamed to another, so it's okay. But those are the same product. It's the exact same product.
There is a question if the logs are getting imported into the GC portal live.
Um, so I assume we're talking about
The logic,
the
I
logic.
believe.
So we don't import those logs. Basically, we just digest it and that's it. We don't send it to somewhere else at the moment.
Someone asked if all the features are supported on both AWS and Azure, as you see that most of the demonstration that we have done is on AWS.
So there are things that on Azure it's not supported, like dynamic access, because on Azure they have another mechanism for that. So
Okay.
it's not supported over there, but most of the features supported on those two.
Okay. Guy, can you elaborate regarding license? How does it work with from a license perspective?
So regarding license, I have no idea.
Me
I
too.
never wanted to know. This is the fun in being an R&D. You know, we don't handle money and we don't trying to sell anything. So
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with license. This is something that need to be asked the account manager or the SE that you work with. Uh, are you able to generate a single cloud posture management report which will cover all the on all the accounts that they onboarded to the Infinity portal, like in a click of a
um,
button to run on all of them?
yes, you can run it on all of the cloud accounts. You can get a report if it's on the same OU. And then basically we are running all the different rule sets related to the platform and aggregated to a single report. And this is also something that we're planning to improve in the next year, hopefully.
Do you remember if NERC CIP is available as a rule set?
I don't think so, but I might be mistaken.
Okay, someone asked about virtual patching. Virtual patching, this is something that we are not
No,
doing.
no, we don't have visibility on the assets themselves. We only store the metadata.
Okay,
Excuse me?
let's see what else. Where can I find the anti-tampering capability? So for the anti-tampering capability, you will need to work with the full protection mode, right, Guy?
Yeah, yeah. Or to use the cloud bots. You know, basically the auto remediation is like tamper, but basically the tampering is every 5 minutes. You can select specific security groups and not all of them. But don't mix the auto remediation along with tampering.
Okay, another question, if this is available only as a SaaS on the SaaS Infinity portal, or this product can also be deployed on on-prem environments. So this is
No,
only a
no,
SaaS. This is
only
only a
a
SaaS.
SaaS. Only a
So,
SaaS.
Guy, I think that we cover a lot of questions, and the time, the time flies. So what I suggest is all of the questions are in the Q&A. I will send it to you, all the questions, and by the end of the week, you will get all of the attendees will get an email from me with a link to the recording, and also I will attach an Excel file with all the questions and the answers, and also the questions that has not been answered during this session. So don't worry, all of the questions will be answered. Guy, I think it was awesome. Thank you very much. And what we need to cover,
It was in a nutshell.
yeah, and what we need to cover, we haven't, as I said, we didn't cover all the products that are part of the native cloud security. We need to cover also the workload protection, and what in the workload protection with the application security, container security, and server security, and those are going to be covered in our next lectures. So thank you very much, and see you soon. And of course, if you have any questions, drop your questions, create a post in CloudMates, and we will be we are going to be happy to assist and answer any questions you might have. So thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thank you very much for your time.
This is not my decision. I'm not.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm not even the messenger. This is the situation right now. In Alibaba Cloud.